Okay, we're now in the library, and as you can see, there are several volumes, in fact 6 volumes, written about the miners by a man called Robin Page Arnot. Now, Robin Page Arnot is extremely important in relation to the general strike and in relation to the miners in particular. And miners were at the centre of the attack by the employers and the ruling class, really from the end of the First World War, even before the First World War onwards. Robin Page Arnot is important to us, and it's important in terms of the history of the general strike, because he was actually the first principal of Marx Memorial Library and Workers' School. When Marx Memorial Library was established in 1933, Page Arnot was the leading figure in this until 1945. So just to say a little bit about him, because we have got his archive here, and obviously we've got his books, as you can see. Page Arnot was very active, really, in the labour movement from as early as 1914, when he became secretary of the Fabian Research Bureau, which later became known as the Labour Research Department, which still exists and still provides an incredible service to workers. During the First World War, from 1914 to 18, Robin Page Arnot was a conscientious objector. He refused to fight in what he called, and what socialists called, an imperialist war. And for that he was imprisoned as a conscientious objector from 1916 to 1918. On his release, obviously he was a socialist and a committed socialist then, but he gravitated towards communism, and in 1920, when the Communist Party of Great Britain was formed, Robin Page Arnot was a foundation member. Robin Page Arnot that had a very important connection throughout, really from the end of the First World War onwards, with the miners. There were several strikes by miners in the early part of the 20th century. In 1919, there was, during the war, I should say, the mines were nationalised, and but then reverted back to the ownership of the coal owners, who were determined to ensure that the mining industry gave them profits, but the only way those profits could be realised was through greater exploitation of the workforce. So there was 2 huge issues that the employers, backed by the government, concentrated on. One was to increase the length of the working day, and secondly, to ensure that wages were lowered, and hence the slogan of the miners, not a penny off the pay, not a second on the day. So Page Arnot was very involved in all of these struggles, and there was a strike in 1919, which was, as always happens during strikes, which was kind of muted by the government promising yet another Royal Commission. And this was the Sankey Commission in 1919, which Page Arnot gave, on behalf of the Labour Research Department, gave evidence. He represented the miners in this commission of inquiry, and in fact he and others drafted a mines nationalisation bill, because that's what the miners wanted. They wanted the mines to be taken away from the coal owners, the rapacious coal owners, and placed into the hands of the government. So the connection for Page Arnot with the miners was absolutely fundamental throughout, and that meant that during the strike, he played a very, very important role. In fact, as a communist, he was one of the 12 communists who were imprisoned in 1925. In 1926, he founded another journal called Labour Monthly, with a man called Rajini Palm Dutt. And as I say, his contribution to the miners is enshrined in these 6 volumes devoted to the miners, South Wales, Scotland, and elsewhere. So For the two reasons that I think I've tried to mention, we regard our library, March Memorial Library and Workers' School, as playing as earning the right, if you like, to be seen as an important aspect in the commemoration of the general strike, both through our archive and through our intimate connection with the miners via people like Robin Page Arnot. And our collections, in that sense, I think are probably unique. In that we hold all of the records relating to the Communist Party, maybe not all of them, but certainly a substantial amount. And politically, of course, we are, as our name implies, March Memorial Library and Workers' School, always on the side of the workers as a Marxist organisation.